Hello everyone, here are the latest market news on April the 22nd, 2019. Death toll in the Sri Lanka bombings jumps to 290. It was Easter Sunday in Negombo, a beach town north of the Sri Lankan capital, dotted with Catholic churches. Inside St. Sebastian's Church, the pews were packed with worshippers as the Mass began. The blast was so powerful that it blew off much of the church's roof, said a 62-year-old retired accountant who survived the bombing but spoke on the condition of anonymity out fear. The injured and the dead were everywhere. On Monday, officials raised the death toll in the Easter Sunday attacks on churches and high-end hotels to 290 from 207, underscoring the massive scale of the bloodshed. More than 500 people have been injured. No group claimed responsibility for the attacks. Attention is now focusing on why and how the government and security forces were unable to foil the bombings, which they may have had some warning about and could have involved a local radical Islamic group. The highly coordinated attacks left the island nation reeling, a crushing blow after almost a decade of peace since the end of the civil war. In that time, tourism in Sri Lanka had been steadily growing. The country transformed by the apparent end of instability, bloodshed and frequent suicide bombings over the 26-year war. Police say that Sunday's attacks were caused by suicide bombers who detonated explosives in several locations across the country, including St. Sebastian's Church, 6 locations in Colombo, and a church in Batticaloa on the island's eastern shore. U.S. to eliminate Iran oil waivers. The Trump administration won't renew waivers that let countries buy Iranian oil without facing U.S. sanctions, according to 4 people familiar with the matter, a move that roiled energy markets and risks upsetting major importers such as China and India. U.S. Secretary of State Michael Pompeo plans to announce the decision Monday morning in Washington, said the people who asked not to be identified, discussing a plan that hasn't been formally unveiled. The current set of waivers, issued to China, Greece, India, Italy, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan and Turkey, expire May the 2nd. The decision not to renew the waivers is a victory for National Security Advisor John Bolton and his allies, who has urged that U.S. promises to get toll to Iran were meaningless with waivers still in place. Pompeo and his team had been more cautious, though they also maintained that the market was well enough supplied to ramp up pressure on Iran. The price of Brent crude, the global oil benchmark, rose as much as 3.3% to $74.31 a barrel on Monday, the highest intraday price in almost 6 months. America's new voting machines bring new fears. By design, tens of millions of votes are cast across America on machines that cannot be audited, where the votes cannot be verified, and there is no meaningful paper trail to catch problems such as major error or a hack. For almost 17 years, states and countries around the country have conducted elections on machines that have been repeatedly shown to be vulnerable to hacking, errors, breakdowns, and the leave behind to prove that the votes counted actually match the votes that were cast. Now, in a climate of fear and suspicion over attacks to America's voting system, sparked by Russia's attacks on the 2016 elections, states and countries across the country are working to replace these outdated machines with new ones. The goal is to make the 2020 elections secure. There is a lot of work to be before 2020, but I think there is definitely opportunities to make sure that the reported outcomes are correct in 2020, said Marion Schneider, president of the election integrity watchdog Verified Voting. I think that people are focusing on it in a way that has never happened before. It's thanks to the Russians. Tesla investigates video of exploded Model S. U.S. electric vehicles maker Tesla Inc. on Monday said it has sent a team of investigative video on Chinese social media which showed a parked Tesla Model S car exploding, the latest in a string of fire incidents involving Tesla's cars. The video, time-stamped Sunday evening and widely shared on China's Twitter like Weibo, showed that parked EV emits smoke and burst into flames seconds later. A video purportedly of the aftermath showed a line of these cars completely destroyed. We immediately sent a team on site and were supporting local authorities to establish the facts. From what we know now, no one was harmed, Tesla said in a statement. There have been at least 14 instances of Tesla cars catching fire since 2013, with the majority occurring after a crash. The automaker has said its EVs are approximately 10 times less likely to experience a fire than petrol-powered cars, based on its fleet of over 500,000 vehicles which have driven more than 10 billion miles.